forward with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. Oh, there are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers. And through the smoke we come.
What a crack! Oh, a crack! Oh, a crack!
This week on Retro Motorsport, we take a trip back in time. First stop, the year is 2007. The place, Bay Park Speedway, Tauranga. The event, the New Zealand Sprintcar Championships. The Blue Chip Stadium was the venue for the 37th running of the New Zealand Sprintcar Championship. Over the last 17 years, only 4 people have claimed the title. This is how the championship works. All cars will time trial over 2 flying laps. Qualifying is divided into 4 heats based on the top 4 in each heat, transferring to the first and second dashes. The finishing order of the dashes determine the starting places for the first 16 positions of the championship race. The remaining 6 cars in the 22-car field transfer through the C and B mains. 50 plus cars turned up on Friday night to qualify over a 2-lap sprint to determine the fastest laps.
Kerry, well done. Time trials, your second fastest.
Yeah, and I was more than happy with that. We were very, very late in the piece, being 44 out of 49 cars, but I think the track was better later on, and it just sort of started to break up a little bit. And I saw Steve Kinser a couple of years ago when he did the World of Outlaw thing here go pretty much all the way around the bottom. I thought, well, I'll go in low first off, and the car felt real good, so I just stayed there, and yeah, it paid off.
Alan, the weekend started the best way possible. You've actually time trialled the fastest.
Well, we might have won a bit of money, Roger, but it's probably not the best way to start in some respects, because it makes us grid 6 in the heat, and we have to get forward now to at least 4th or better. The lucky guys that are qualified in the 20s are off the front of the heat, so we've still got an uphill battle, mate, and this format is real testing for everybody, so we've got a bit of work to do yet.
Quick look at the qualifiers now. Alan Wakeling, the only one in the 13.4 second bracket from Kerry Jones, Colin Etchrystal, Havard Daniels and Brent Harris from Palmerston North. Well, this is the first of the heats, and you're on board here with Rodney Wood, ex-stock car driver. Just up ahead of him it is James Dunn. Now remember, the top qualifier was Alan Wakeling. Now they invert the top 6 in the heat, so Waco will start from outside of row number 3 in the Coke and Hand Tools car. You see the Coke and sign on the big wing as we ride here with Rodney Wood. Get the green, and heat 1 is underway, and a good start from young Ben Fenimore in the new Maxim car. That's him out in the front there, car number 7. Alan Wakeling's got a bit of work to do, moves up into 4th place now. Remember, the top 4 will go through as a direct transfer into the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship. It is Fenimore in the front, Hans Bore through in 2nd place. Then it's Alan Wakeling by the look of it. 6 is James Dunn. So all the heavy hitters starting to come towards the front. None more than this man, 8 times New Zealand champion, Alan Wakeling. Will he make it 9 here today at the Blue Chip Stadium, Mount Maunganui, the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship? A huge prize purse on offer, and a huge entry turnout as well, and Alan Wakeling would like to be among the top runners when we get down to the final event. But at the moment it is Ben Fenimore. Cast your mind back a couple of seasons and Fenimore lit the stadium alight with a win in his rookie season in sprint cars, then just a teenager. The Trimax car out in the front, the new Maxim. It's lighter, it's faster than his old and heavy car that he won the title with 2 years ago. 51 Rodney Wood in the Fowler Homes Makatu Poultry car. This is an ex-Outlaws car from the United States of America. Rodney Wood, of course, very accomplished in a stock car, a super stock. Now getting to grips with the sprint cars as well. All these top cars running over 700 horsepower. 6 James Dunn in the Scania-sponsored machine. This is the battle for the minors at the moment. Ahead of them, Auckland's Hans Bore, out of the midgets a few seasons ago now, but it's Ben Fenimore. It's showing them all a clean pair of wheels at the moment. Remember, the top 4 will transfer through directly to the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship. Fenimore looks like he will book his spot in this heat number 1 of 4. So Ben Fenimore coming up onto some lap traffic here. Sliding up into 2nd place now is Alan Wakeling, the 8-time champion, so he might make a move here as Fenimore just gets crowded to the outside as he goes round the lapper. Now he goes back down onto the pole line. You can see already the track is very good down at the bottom, not so good at the top. 87 there, this is Daniel Eggleton, Ian's father, Mike, ex-midget car driver, ex-co-driver for the late great Possum Bourne years and years ago now, but Daniel making his foray into the sprint cars in the Total Span car, the Roger Davis owned car. But this man is going to take out heat number 1, the Trimax Mowing Systems Maxim of Ben Fenimore, a champion 2 years ago, the youngest ever in New Zealand history. He will win the first heat of the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship. Lots more action still to come, though, but Fenimore will claim first blood here at the Blue Chip Stadium. Second place will be Alan Wakeling. In third, it'll be Hans Bore. Fourth will go to Rodney Wood. And in fifth, it'll be Mount Longanui's Bradley Tyrrell.
Ben, well done. First heat winner.
Yeah, no, it was awesome car. The boys did an absolute wicked job on the car. They were a bit iffy at the start to see if it was going to work, but it seemed to come out right and the car was going awesome.
Well, this is heat number 2, and once again it's the top 4 that will transfer right through. 84 there is Kerry Jones, another 8-time champion. Sitting alongside him, Phil Game, out of semi-retirement to be back into this one, trying to complete 30 years of motorsport in both modified sprint cars and stock cars. Away they go. Number 12 jets out in the front. That's Peter Wilson. Right in behind him, Paul Donovan from Hawke's Bay. Kerry Jones is a big mover, though. He's gone from 6th on the grid to about 3rd place now as he tries to hunt down Paul Donovan. There he is, the 84. Jones, another 8-time champion. We saw Alan Wakeling in heat 1. This is heat 2. You'll see another 2 heats before we get into the dashes here at the Blue Chip Stadium. And this man will want to be amongst it. 84, Kerry Jones. The Salter Cartage Maxim, the best thing money can buy. And some say the best driver behind the wheel. Round the outside of Peter Wilson he goes, and straight into the front, and he makes it look easy. There's the 8-time champion. Donovan goes back into 3rd place. Then it's Phil Game in the only remaining Maxim that he owns, the Alpha Oil sponsored car, as I said, coming out of semi-retirement to be here at the National Championships. But they are all trying to keep the Jones boy in sight, and they cannot do it at the moment. And remember that Kerry Jones has come from 6th position on the grid, and the reason for that is he was the 2nd fastest qualifier in time qualifying behind nemesis Alan Wakeling. And the start order in the heats is the invert the top 6, and that's why Jones came from the back of row number 3. Well, he's in the front now, and he is running away with this one, and he is starting to move up on the outside of the racetrack. Second place at the moment would be Paul Donovan. He's a long way back, though. Phil Game will be up into 3rd place. This is the middleman car of Clint Herring, another one that's come from the stock car ranks. South Auckland sign rider. Mark Proctor helping him out. Ron Salter helping out Kerry Jones, and Jones has to avoid the 52, the spinning 52 of Ben Quinn. So the yellows come out. Jones misses it, but will get a restart, and it means that Paul Donovan will close up onto the tail tank of Kerry Jones, and right in behind him will be Peter Wilson. In there as well. Watch for Philip Game. Away they go. Green flies here at the Blue Chip Stadium, and Kerry Jones goes straight back into his work, and there's nothing Donovan can do about it. So Jones leads it. Donovan in 2nd place. Here's a good battle on your screen. Mark Curly Brown is in it. So too Andy Gudgeon. Gudgeon turns in on it, and Brown's got nowhere to go. And upside down goes Mark Curly Brown. Oh, and Quinn gets into the back of it as well. So that is real problems. Yellow flags fly again here at the Blue Chip Stadium. Here it is on the replay. Now watch Andy Gudgeon. I don't think he knew that the AC Diggers car was there, and he's turned in on Curly Brown, and there is the result for all to see. The left rear flying up into the wall of Andy Gudgeon's car, and then the 52, Quinn, comes in as well. So, well, the judges have declared it, and that means Kerry Jones is the winner. He'll book himself a spot along with Paul Donovan, Phil Game, Laszlo Mazeris and Ray Griffin. This is heat number 3. And the ones to watch for here, well, a bit of a blast from the past, and of course the American out there as well in the number 10, and that is Ricky Logan, the Lucas Oil sponsored car owned by Keith Simpson. The blast from the past I referred to, of course, was Tommy Rusher, but it's number 56, Carl Wilson, in the Chester's Marley car going out into the front. The J&J leads it. Wilson, no stranger to winning down here at the Blue Chip Stadium, won a feature event here just before Christmas. Here is Ricky Logan. A lot of people say that Logan will be a real threat to win the title. Now, if he does, he'll make history, because no non-New Zealander has ever won a New Zealand open wheel speedway title. Many have tried, but none have come good. Will Ricky Logan be able to do it? Just trying to get around Aussie Sokol at the moment in the wins car just ahead of him. This man has been a sensation wherever he goes. But you've got to say, this guy's been a bit of a sensation as well. Carl Wilson, Ollie to his friends, the Marley car. There is Tom Rusher, number 75. One of the few men that have driven every form of open wheel class in New Zealand, from TQs, midgets, and of course now in the Ford sprint car. Man from Hamilton. Oh, and there's problems here as well as somebody goes off onto the infield. As already Wilson is starting to get into the lap traffic here. That is the dominant display he is providing. Had a bit of bad luck up in Auckland, was involved in a crash in one of the feature races with Tom Russia, so he wanted to get a bit of distance between himself and Russia, and he's just making it hard for himself here, trying to get around some of the slower traffic. Now he manages to clear them, so Carl Wilson will be another one of, some say, the favourites that will book a spot after a win here in this heat. Out of TQs, didn't go to the midget ranks, just went straight to the sprint cars. This is a new car, this is a J&J, he's had for a couple of seasons now. 1 lap to go for the PDL Marley Chester's Bathroom Centre car. Carl Wilson on his way to a win here. Tommy Russia looks like he'd still be up in second place, and it'd be Aussie Sokol, and then Ricky Logan, and it's a bit of a disappointment. Logan really struggling under the conditions here as the flag comes out. Wilson gets the win. Russia will go across the line in second place. Then it will be Aussie Sokol. Ricky Logan from the USA will be fourth, and Ron Salter will be fifth.
Carl, bad qualifying, but you made up winning the heat.
Yeah, we didn't qualify so well, and second lap the car jumped out of gear, which didn't help us at all. The track was pretty greasy at the start, which altered the times, but we won the heat and we're back in the show, so hopefully we can have a good dash and see where we end up.
Well, this is the fourth and final heat to decide direct entry into the New Zealand Sprintcar Championship. Kenny Colson in it as well, Hubbard Daniels there too. Watching out for Dean Brindle. And, of course, the defending champion in the Makita car, and that is Jamie McDonald off row number 2. Away they go, and it is the 22 of Dean Brindle that goes into the front. Skinny Colson wants to argue about it, the Ryco Filters car, so they're wheel-to-wheel as they head into 2 and 3 now, and Brindle goes into the lead. Well, this is his home track. Another one of the Salter Cartage cars, and he just about gets it up into a big bicycle, so the heavy track starting to take its toll here. Colson comes right back at him. Dives down the inside as they work their way down the back straight now. Brindle in the front. Another one of the Maxims. The Kreiner engines, the best thing money can buy. Behind him, 66. This is Skinny Colson. One stage running the saloon car and the sprint car in tandem. Nowadays concentrating a little bit more on the sprint car. He's trying to keep Brindle in sight, and he can't do it at the moment. There's one to watch for. Greg Pickerel, Mr. Consistency they call him. He's finished the last few seasons on the podium in each of the Sprint Car Championships. New paint job on the car now with assistance from Delco Remy and Century Batteries. Greg Pickerel, one of the more experienced and calm heads in the sprint car ranks. He's sitting up in third place, and then behind him I think it'd be Lindsay Gilbert from Christchurch. There's only a handful of South Island cars that have made it up here to Mount Maunganui. This is by far the biggest entry of sprint cars we've ever seen in a New Zealand sprint car title, and they've been running them since back in the 70s. First claimed by Peter Annan when it was held in Christchurch. Don Cameron second and Harry Pearson third. There's another Christchurch car coming to the fore here, number 85, Lindsay Gilbert. Pickerel battling with him. This is for the last transfer spot, if you like. Remember, the first 4 will go through direct entry. There's Hubbard Daniels, probably the fittest man in sprint car racing in New Zealand. Accomplished marathon runner and triathlete. And he was a bit of a surprise in the qualifying because he qualified 4th quickest, but he's been penalised by the invert in the heats because he started from 6th and he hasn't been able to go much further than that. So it's going to hurt Hubbard Daniels, and he may not get through in this, the 4th and final heat. The number 9, the professionals car, the man from Auckland. This man will certainly go through, though. This is Dean Brindle, originally out of Hamilton, now living and working in Mount Maunganui. And he is a man that's benefited from the invert in the heat system because everyone was saying after the time qualifying runs that he was in real problem. Well, in heat number 4, he started off the front row and he has disappeared from the rest of this field. So Dean Brindle gets the checkered flag and wins heat number 4. Second place looks like it'll be Skinny Colson, and in third place Greg Pickerel. Fourth place will go to Christchurch's Linda Gilbert, and in fifth place it will be Hubbard Daniels, but he won't go through. Welcome back to the Blue Chip Stadium, Mount Maunganui, for day 2 of the New Zealand Sprint Car Championships for 2008. We've seen the heats and now we're into the mains.
Jamie, current champion, but things really aren't going too good for you.
No, last night was an absolute mare. We crashed out of the heat. It was just pretty much a racing incident, and yeah, it just turned to custard from there.
Once you have a crash in a championship night, does it really go backwards? You can't recover?
No, we can recover. We've got a chance, and that's all you can ask for. We're starting grid 5 in the B, and we've just got to win that and then go start at the back of the A and win that.
terms of starting from 5 on the B, you've got a few guys, good guys in front of you, so you've got to be on first turn crucial.
Oh, absolutely. We just got to get the job done. They'll take 6 from the B, but we really need to win it to start as far up as we can.
The big question is starting 16 or 17, I think it is, in the A main. Can you win from there?
Yeah, of course you can. A couple of yellows, anything can happen, so we'll be trying real hard.
Well, Jamie McDonald has got a hard road to hoe here at the Blue Chip Stadium for the New Zealand Sprintcar Championship, but he can do it. These guys have got an even harder road to hoe because this is the C main and only 2 cars will transfer through into the B main. So then they've got to do it all over again. Who's going to lead them into turn 1? And from the outside it is number 25, and that's Matthew Gillingham. Looks like Ray Griffin through into second place in the 11 car, the Elf car. Let them get themselves sorted out for a little bit. Just got a glimpse here of Ray Nielsen in the 55, and round goes the 46 of Matthew Smith. Can he keep it going? Yes, he can. No yellows, so we're still under green here, and that's good news for Matthew Gillingham. Remember, if you finish in the top 2 in the C main, you go through to the back of the B main. If you're in the top 6 of the B, you transfer to the back of the A. It doesn't get any easier. This is Raymond Griffin, Solid Floors sponsored, Alf Oil sponsored car. Pretty new to sprint cars. Long-time crew chief, though, to Graham Standring and also Shane Ellick for the last few years. But the last few seasons anyway, he's been in the sprint car. This is Karen Forsey from Christchurch, one of 3 women in the New Zealand Sprint Car title, along with Shay Oliver and Kerry-Ann James. 38 car, another one of the South Island contingent that has made the trip up here. Driving a nice tidy race at the moment. 17, and this is the middleman car of Clint Herring. He's currently sitting up in 3rd place, so he needs to go 1 spot higher if he wants to transfer into the B, because remember, only 2 will go through. Number 86 there is Shay Oliver, so we've got 2 ladies in this field. Shay from Mount Maunganui and Karen from Christchurch, but number 25, Matthew Gillingham, stays in the front and he makes a mistake, and here comes the challenge from Raymond Griffin, and down the outside comes Griffin. Can he make the pass? Sticky just drifts a little bit wide into 1 and can't get it back in 2, so 25, Matthew Gillingham somehow will live to fight again. Griffin isn't done with yet though. So a good scrap here, these 2 looking to make it into the B main. If they can make it, oh, and there's problems there. The 46 has gone round, and that's Matt Smith, and that's just added to the drama here as the yellows fly at the Blue Chip Stadium. Matt Smith's car stranded across the racetrack. Here it is on the replay, and how lucky was Matthew Gillingham? For the 2nd time in about 2 laps, he's saved what could be potential disaster. So on the replay, Raymond Griffin will close right up to the tail tank of Gillingham. Then it will be Herring in 3rd place. Remember, 2 to transfer through to the B main. Green flies again here at the Blue Chip Stadium for the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship. This is night number 2, and it is the C main, and it is down to just 2 at the moment. Number 55 there, it's Kevin Hyde, ex-New Zealand Sprint Car champion. As we go back to the front of the field, and Gillingham starting to get away now. Raymond Griffin in 2nd place. Behind him it is Herring. So it's 11-17, but out in the front, car number 25 from Mount Maunganui, and that is Matthew Gillingham. Will he transfer through? Checkered flag comes out, and he does, and so too will Raymond Griffin. So missing out will be Clint Herring, Shay Oliver, Kevin Hyde. So Matt Gillingham and Raymond Griffin will transfer into the B main. The rest of them will put the cars on the trailer and go home. So this is the B main, and it doesn't get any easier because now the top 6 in this race will start in finishing order from 17th to 22nd in the A main, or the New Zealand Championship race. So it is number 68, and this is Colin Entwistle out in the front. There is the number 1. Now, we've got to watch his progress through here because he is the defending champion. That is Jamie McDonald, man that's come out of quarter midgets and TQs and then made the leap up to sprint cars, won the title last year, stopped the dominance of the Jones and Wakeling dynasty. Another one looking to move forward, number 14 there, and that's Brady Tyrrell trying to go with Jamie McDonald. It would be a sensation if McDonald doesn't make it into the A main and get to have a chance to defend his title, but it may happen. Oh, there's a real traffic jam here. And in it there was number 5, and I got a feeling that was Bernie Gillen, new to sprint cars this season. A couple coming back on the hook, so it means that they will close right up on our race leader. Waiting for the restart, Colin Seth Entwistle in the front. car number 68. Away he goes, the base speed Maxim. Done plenty of laps around here. Originally from Whakaroa, now living and working here in Tauranga in the Bay of Plenty. Abbott Daniels, another one looking to make his way through. As number 37 starts to make a move now. This is Bob Corskadden. Getting past Jamie McDonald, which is a bit of a worry for McDonald and all his supporters. 68, Entwistle leads it. Looks like number 6 moving through into second place. There he is there. This is James Dunn. Abbott Daniels goes through into third place. Then it's Rob Corskadden, Jamie McDonald in 5th. Aaron McConkey in 6th. So that is where the bubble is, if you like. You've got to be in the 6th if you want to go through to the A. 88 there. Just getting in the way a little bit here. That is Andy Gudgeon. We saw him have it coming together with Mark Curly-Brown in an earlier heat race. What can he do here? Can he make it through into the top 6? Maybe he can't. Raymond Griffin may be another one that's going to miss out here, having a great battle with Andy Gudgeon, diving up the inside of him as they head down into 3. Race leader continues to be Colin Entwistle. James Darman second place. They're pretty near locked in. Heather Daniels is 3rd. Trying to find a way around them. Car number 57, Aaron McConkey. He is on the bubble at the moment. He would be the 6th quickest on the racetrack now and be sitting in 6th place. If he stays where he is, he should make it into the A main. But remember, they will start from 17th back to 22nd. So it will be hard from there. McConkey doing a great job, but so is the man out in the front, and that is Colin Entwistle. James Darm trying to close him down. Entwistle down on the pole line. Darm following now as they work their way down the front straight once again here at the Blue Chip Stadium. The base speed Maxim in the front. Colin Entwistle, another one that's come from modifieds to sprint car racing. But now one of the legends here at Mount Maunganui, and maybe James Darm yet to right that legendary status, but still doing a good job. The young bloke in the BP-sponsored car sits in second place. Now looks to the outside, up on the high line to try and put a little bit of pressure on Entwistle. Just not too much racetrack out there at the moment, though. Entwistle dive it down into the pole line as they head down the back straight. On the last lap this time, Entwistle's going to get there. Darm will be second. In third place, it will be Daniels. Corskadden will go through. So too will Jamie McDonald in 5th, just by the skin of his teeth. And the 6th and final qualifier into the A main will be Aaron McConkey. So Colin Entwistle will start off 17th in the A main. Still to come the A main, but first 2 dashes to determine the grid positions.
Alan, looks like all the hard work. You pulled number 6 out, I believe, so the grids are inverted.
Yes, I did, Roger, and I did check the tin, and it did have the 0, the 4 and the 6. I thought William might have had 3 6s in there just to get me, but it's a bit of a disappointment, but I mean, you've got to take it on the chin, and you've got to do your best. I've inverted Carl Wilson to the front row in my dash, and I inverted Kerry back to 6 in his dash, and Dean Brindle off the front. But sprint car racing's tough, Roger, and really you just got to get on with the job and take it on the chin, mate.
So this is the first of 2 dashes, and on pole position it is the PDL Marley car of Carl Wilson. Outside of him it is Ben Finnimore in the 7. Second row back on the inside, Skinny Colson. Outside of him it is Rodney Wood. Third row back on the inside is Ricky Logan. Outside is the top qualifier, and that is Alan Wakeling. He will start from grid position 6 because remember, he drew the number 6 marble to invert the starting order. Now this first dash is to determine the inside starting positions of the first 8 rows. So the green flag flies and we're underway, and we're looking out the back of the Skinny Colson car, the 66, but it's Ben Finnimore that's gone into the front, and down the inside of him comes Carl Wilson in the 56. There is Alan Wakeling. Remember, he started from grid number 6. Going with him, Skinny Colson, 3 abreast as they go down the back straight. Here is the view from looking out the back of Ricky Logan's car. There is Skinny Colson. Now, they were side by side just a little while ago, but Logan it is that's moved up. Colson just goes back a little bit here. 51, Rodney Wood wants a piece of Alan Wakeling. There is Ricky Logan from Knoxville, Tennessee in the Lucas Oil car, owned by Keith Simpson. We continue to watch out the back of the Logan car as he tries to get away from the rest of the snarling pack. Remember, this is dash number 1, and it determines the inside starting positions for the first 8 rows. Dash number 2 will decide the outside starting positions for the feature event, the title deciding New Zealand Championship for the sprint cars. 56, Carl Wilson's got away from them here in the first of the dashes. The Chester's Plumbing Marley PDL car. We're back on board here with the Logan car looking out the back. Car number 89 trying to do a good job, trying to move up through the field. Also moving up through the field is the 8-time New Zealand champion, and that is Alan Wakeling, just going round the Trimax car of Ben Finnimore. So Waco goes into second place now. Now can he chase down Carl Wilson? There is Wilson, and he's got the best part of a quarter of lap's lead, and you can see by the way the dust's starting to come up here at the Blue Chip Stadium. The track is starting to go away a little bit. Everyone diving down to the pole line. That's where Wilson is at the moment. What a great 2 days he's had. He wins dash number 1. In second place it will be Alan Wakeling, and in third place it'll be Ben Finnimore. Fourth place will go to the American Ricky Logan, and in fifth place it'll be Christchurch's Lindsay Gilbert. Still to come, we've got dash number 2, but with an unhappy 8-time champion, Kerry Jones. Because of the invert, he will start from grid position 6.
Kerry, your teammate Dean Brindle's extremely happy because he's on the front row of the dash, but you're not so happy. Why?
Just the way that the format goes. Alan pulled a marble, and all the hard work that we did last night just puts us on position 6, row 3 for the dash, and that's and you just go forward from there to put yourself back into a decent start position. And we all know how fast Dean Brindle can be, and it's one of those deals when you've got nobody in front of you, you're fast. So yeah, a little bit disappointed, but hey, you just got to go out there and go racing.
Well, Kerry Jones has got it all to do, because in 6 laps he's got to come from grid position 6 and try to get to the front of this field. There he is, the 84 car, the Salter Cartage Maxim. Alongside him it is Philip Game. At the back row it is Greg Pickerel and Hans Bore from Auckland. Meantime, off the front, Dean Brindle, and you heard Kerry Jones say they all acknowledge how fast this man is at Mount Maunganui. Second place is number 8, and that is Paul Donovan from Hawke's Bay at the moment. But Brindle in the first of the Salter Cartage cars going through. There is number 88, that is Aussie Sokol, in there as well, 75, Tom Rusher. But Kerry Jones already on a charge, moving through up into third place here, up on the outside line, looking for racing room against Paul Donovan, gets it and goes through into second. What a start for Kerry Jones, the 8-time national champion. One thing with Kerry Jones is you don't want to make him angry before a race start, because he will take it out on the car and the racetrack, and that's exactly what he's doing here. Now can he chase down his teammate? Oh, he can now, because they'll close up under yellow. Donovan makes a mistake, and that's good news for Kerry Jones. He'll start right on the tail tank of Dean Brindle, number 22. There he is. Salter Cartage cars 1 and 2 here. So that was where the fireworks, I'm sure, are going to come from. Watch 84, Kerry Jones, as they begin the run up to the green flag. Brindle moves across up to the outside just to cover his line. Jones has got to have a bit of a rethink as they go through 1 and 2. Jones on the outside, Brindle down on the inside. Not much racetrack outside there for Kerry Jones, but he closes up the gap on Brindle. Now he tries to attack him through 3 and 4. Down the front straight they come once again. Brindle just drifts a little bit wide, forces Jones to the wall. Well, he's kind of allowed to do that under racing rules, and he tries to do it again. Jones this time awake up to it. Brindle and Jones first and second in dash number 2. Think back in third place it'll be the veteran Tom Rusher in the Ford. Brindle right down on the pole line. Jones looking to wear in the top groove here. Maybe he's doing a bit of homework for the A-Main. Still to come here at the Blue Chip Stadium. Brindle down on the pole line. Jones looking for racing room. Once again, Brindle takes him to the top side of the racetrack. Well, questionable tactics here as we're on the last lap in the second of the dashes, and it's going to be Dean Brindle, is it? Here comes the last lap charge from Kerry Jones. I don't think he can get there, and Brindle will get there for Ron Salter. Jones will go across the line in second place. Russia will go through in third, and then it would be Phil Game, Greg Pickerel. That's the way they finish. So we have got a full grid for the A-Main, the championship race to decide the 2008 New Zealand Sprintcar Championships.
Kerry, that was amazing in the dash. You came right round the outside. I think you're in second place after almost the first lap.
Yeah, that was me game plan. The top of the drag track's actually not too bad at this stage. It's still pretty slick, but I got up real close to Dean, but he was running out to the wall as you would naturally do. I had to get out of the throttle a couple of times, so a few more laps I probably could have pipped them back actually, but it's not a bad starting spot. We're second row on the outside, so yeah, we'll be looking for another good run around the top.
And you think 25 laps running upstairs it will last up there?
That'll be the telling features, sort of how long it'll last up there, how many other cars decide to run up there as well, and if you get too much traffic up there that's not as fast as yourself, well then you've got to start looking for another piece of racetrack. So yeah, we're gonna come around real fast and pick up the tail enders. There's 22 cars out there, so yeah, it's anybody's ball game.
Carl, you've got the car on pole.
Yeah, we managed to have a good dash there with the marble draw worked out well for us. Won the dash, won the pole, so we'll just see what we can do. We're just choosing now what we're going to do with tyres and what lane we're going to run. So
the last dash looks like Kerry Jones proved you could run up top as well.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think everyone's going to try for the top at the beginning of the race, and then they'll have to come down eventually. So it's just a matter of how long they can, how much gain they can get out of the top before they have to come down.
Ricky, looks like in the dash you've managed 7 on the grid.
Yeah, it'd make for a little more difficult night, but we'll be fine. You know, we got bottled up there a couple of times in that dash and just couldn't get a good run going. 6 laps, didn't much time to do anything, but in fact, 25 is a little shorter than what we're used to at home. You know, normally our features are 30, 40 laps, but still with 25 laps, we get the car going good and we have plenty of time to get to the front.
A couple of the Salter cars in the previous dash, they were running upstairs quite a way.
Yeah, actually, that's by far probably the fastest way around the track right now, so I'm sure you'll see a lot of that in the feature.
Of course, tracks at home very similar to this.
Most of the ones I run on are a lot bigger. The conditions actually similar. This is the way we usually like them, nice and slick.
So you set up a tight race car, very tight race car?
Yeah, very tight, and then it's do your best.
Lindsay, respectable stuff. You're 9th in the final, the only South Islander in the final.
Yeah. It's just blowing me away at the moment. I came up here. The first time I heard about Bay Park was when I saw the Outlaws on TV. This is the first time I've driven on the track. Everyone said it's bumpy, it's nasty.
The track is very, very slick, and back home in Ruapuna you race on that sort of surface.
Yeah, I was actually quite enjoying the dash. I was starting to get into it. It was sort of reminding me of a feature night back home, so it's not very bumpy at all, and I'm happy that it's gone that way anyway.
You ready for the Stu? Well, there is the Mayor of Tauranga. This is Stuart Crosby to give those immortal words in motor racing. Gentlemen, start your engines. Well, the push trucks come out, and the first away is number 56, and this is Carl Wilson, and he will start on the front row along with Dean Brindle. Remember, those starting positions determined by the dash. This is the 4 abreast salute, and the big crowd here at the Blue Chip Stadium soaking up the atmosphere. And what atmosphere we've got. We've never seen so many entries in a New Zealand Sprint Car Championship ever before since the 1970s, and the class of the field is exemplary. You've got 8-time champion Kerry Jones, you've got 8-time champion Alan Wakeling, you've got the defending champion in there, Jamie McDonald, you've got the American visitor in Ricky Logan, some say the hired gun. You've got the young gun in there, in Ben Fenimore. They get set to go. Who's going to get the jump as the green flag flies? And it looks like it'll be Dean Brindle to lead them into 1. Down the inside comes Carl Wilson. Going with Brindle, though, up on the outside is Kerry Jones. And Alan Wakeling has been swamped here. So watch for the Koken car. There it is, back in 4th place now, but 22. Brindle in the front. The PDL car, Wilson goes back into 3rd. Jones now dives to the inside. Now we saw him run the outside groove in the dashes, and it seemed to work for him. And once again, he gets together with his teammate, and that is Dean Brindle. Wilson up into 3rd. Wakeling back into 4th place for the moment. Where is Ricky Logan? Well, problems already in the early going here at the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship as the cars all slow down. Looking for an outside favourite. Have a look at the 77, Phil Game. And that is the 35 of Hans Bore and 47 Aussie Sockhold. So the 2 Aucklanders get together. So the field will bunch up the 75 there, the green Ford of Tommy Rusher. There is number 10, the Lucas Oils Keith Simpson-owned car of Ricky Logan. Watch for Carl Wilson. Watch too for 84, Kerry Jones. 22, Brindle lets them go away, though. Wakeling just closes up the gap a little bit on Wilson, and Wilson dives down to the inside, tries to take the front running, and Kerry Jones has got it now, the 8-time champion in the front, and Brindle takes him straight back down the inside as they head into 3. It's the 2 Salter Cartage cars, 1 and 2 in the early going of the sprint cars, and Brindle's in a bit of bother, and he nearly takes out his teammate. He drifts right across the racetrack, the front wheels off the ground. I'm sure he wasn't in any control at all, but he stays in the front. Brindle leads it, and look at the front wing. Maybe that's the reason the car drifted out towards the wall. The ring strut is broken, and that's going to affect the handling of the 22 car, and Kerry Jones will know that. He will have seen it, and he will be lying in wait, I'm sure of it. Salter cars 1 and 2, the Maxims. 22 leads at Brindle, 84 Salter in 2nd place. Then it's car number 56, and that is Carl Wilson. Then 84, and that is Alan Wakeling trying to get around the number 10 car, and he can't do it at the moment, and that is the car of Ricky Logan. We've got the best seat in the house, and we ride with the Ryco Filters car of Skinny Colson from Palmerston North. And he's got a bit of work to do, and you can see for yourself the dust is starting to be a bit of a visibility problem here. That is Logan just up ahead of him, and up ahead of him it's Tom Rusher in the 75, the Ford. And And the blue groove starting to raise a little bit higher on the racetrack, and that's good news for Kerry Jones because he likes to run it up against the wall. And look at the wing of Brindle's car. It's off on an obscure angle. It's got worse from the last time we saw it, and once again he just about tags his teammate as they work down the back straight once again. Jones looking for racing room on the outside. Brindle has to concede it. Kerry Jones goes into the front in the sprint cars, but there's plenty of laps left to go yet. Ron Salter will be loving this. I tell you who won't be loving it is Paul Donovan back in the traffic there. There's a lot of traffic and there's not a lot of visibility. 51, Rodney Wood from Rotorua. Just up ahead of him, it is Ben Fenimore. There he is in the Trimax Mowers car. Fenimore looking for outside. Now moves to the inside. Tags Wood. Here's a different perspective. This is the helmet cam from Ricky Logan, and he's back in about 6th place at the moment. Just up ahead of him, I think it's Alan Wakeling now. Logan, you just get a look at the grill there. A rock screen it is for a lot of the outlaw races. A dust screen it is here. Here's the defending champion. This is Jamie McDonald, and he's got a bit of work to do. Can he get from the back? Remember, he came through the B main, so he started around about 19th grid position. And I tell you what, if he can see where he's going, he's doing better than most because the dust's really starting to fly here at the Blue Chip Stadium. And plenty of laps to run in the sprint cars. And you see all the drivers now trying to use that high line. It's worked for Kerry Jones. Here's Harvard Daniels right in behind him. Oh, and round goes Kerry Jones. Oh, it was the race leader. And I think he tagged Harvard Daniels. We'll love to see that on the replay, but it's cost Jones the lead and Brindle back in the front now. Carl Wilson, the man on the move. He's up in 2nd. Jones goes back to 3rd. Wilson down the inside of Brindle. Can't make the pass work. Down the back straight they come now. Now this time he makes it work as he cuts off the turn, goes down onto the pole line, and Carl Wilson will lead them coming down the front straight, or will he? Yes, he will. Just gets the nose in front in the J&J, the Marley's PDL car of Carl Wilson. He's been a feature winner here before at the Blue Chip Stadium. That was before Christmas. Had a bit of bad luck in Auckland. Got involved with a crash with Tom Rusher. He needs some good luck here, and maybe he's got it. He timed well. He did well in the heats. He did well in the dash. He won his dash. He started off the front row, got swamped a little bit at the start, but he's come back and he's leading this race. Look at this blue groove racetrack up on the outside. Oh, more problems. Car going slow up on the outside as they go through turns 1 and 2. It's not this man, though. This is Carl Wilson. Up ahead of him, Harvard Daniels. He's about to be put a lap down. The Marley car of Carl Wilson. Started off in TQs, the whole family involved in Speedway for moons and moons and moons. His father, his brothers, they're all involved as part of the team. He's got a new race engineer, XV8 supercar engineer helping him out as we go back and have a look at the helmet cam view of Ricky Logan. There is another 8-time champion in the field. This is Alan Wakeling, and maybe he's just missed the setup a little bit here in the Coke and Hand Tools Fleetline car. This is a cool chassis built out of Australia. The new car for Alan this season. As I said before, all these cars running close to 800 horsepower, but it is very questionable whether they'll be able to use it on this racetrack at the moment. It stood up remarkably well. 2 days of racing for the sprint cars and the support program as the yellow lights come on again here at the Blue Chip Speedway. And this will concertina the field up once again, and it's bad news for Carl Wilson because it means that all the cars will close on him. So Carl Wilson leads this train around. 2nd place, number 77, Phil Game. Kerry Jones back in about 4th place, and they've been trundling around under yellow for quite some time now, and I expect that not only the engines would have cooled down, but the tyres as well. You may not think that's a big factor, but on the dirt, it certainly is. Away we go, racing again in the New Zealand Sprint Car title for 2008. Wilson gets a jump on the field. What's happened to Phil Game? Was sitting in 2nd place. Still there. There is number 84, right up on the outside line as he favours to use. Kerry Jones looking for racing room round Game, and I think he's got there. So Jones moves up into 2nd place. White flag out now, and Kerry Jones is trying to chase down Carl Wilson. Wilson leads it. Here comes Kerry Jones, just about rubbing the bead wall off the tyre on the concrete. He's so high up on the racetrack. 56 though, Wilson's going to carry the day. Checkered flag comes out and Carl Wilson gets the biggest win of his career, and he wins the 2008 New Zealand Sprintcar Championships. In second place, it's the 8-time champion Kerry Jones, and in third place, he's came out of retirement for this event, it's Philip Game. Fourth place, Mr. Consistency, just off the podium, and that is Greg Pickerel. Well, Carl Wilson has every right to be happy. He's won the biggest title of his career so far. He is the New Zealand Sprintcar champion for 2008. But you've got to think what a difference another lap would have made to Kerry Jones.
Kerry, halfway through that race, you had this race shot to bits.
Yeah, the car was working really, really good, and as I said earlier on, once we come into that lap traffic, it was going to play a different ball game altogether. You never know how far in front you are. You can't lose your momentum. Come into turn one, and there's this partly spun car, and I don't even know how I managed to sort of straighten the car up and keep going, and I dropped back to fourth, and sort of took me a little bit to get me confidence back in the car. And then that last yellow, I said, well, there's no prizes for fourth, so I'll just have a go around the top. And the car was good. Ollie, fine competitor, and another guy that's won a New Zealand title. So pity I couldn't break that number 8 with Wakeling and make it number 9, but hey, that would have to rate as one of my best fun races ever. It might be bone dry, slick and dusty, but man, it's racy.
You came here about 3 years ago, you're leading the feature, it broke down and you're back, and you come and conquered.
Yeah, we were here a couple of years ago, and it didn't work out for us, and we put a plan in place to try and win it, and we try as hard as we can every track, but it turned out that we're pretty good at this track, and we've won at this track, so we're very, very happy. Can't say enough.
Now, let's hop back in the time machine for a short trip back to 2005 and the NZDRA Drag Racing Nationals.
For 3 rounds now, the best drag racers in New Zealand have been chasing NZDRA points, and it all culminates here. Hi folks, and welcome to our coverage of the Century Battery's 37th annual Drag Nationals here at the Merry Drag Strip. Hundreds and hundreds of cars, thousands and thousands of spectators, beautiful weather, and we have got the rocket car from the United States as well. He says he's going to run a 400km/h top speed at the end of the quarter mile. We'll wait and see about that. We've got the best top alcohol cars, we've got the best alters, we've got the best street cars, you name it, they're all here at Merry for the Century Batteries Nationals. Well, this is how the season started. This is back at Ruapuna, round 1 of the NZDRA Championship, and David Green and Mark Thomas matched up, and what a match-up it was.
Well, it's all about getting in those early rounds, isn't it? It's a point series over the whole season. Early wins get you on the top of the ladder, exactly where these two are.
So that kicked us off in the NZDRA series. Then we moved to the Northern Nationals at Champion Dragway, and Mark Barsley, who hadn't made it to Ruapuna, came up against last year's champion, and that was Craig Brown. This is the final, and this was some race, Manuel.
Well, this was plenty of finals last year, wasn't it? Craig Brown ended up overall point series champion, but Mark Barsley, an honourable second.
And how close do you want to go side by side in the Chevy? So as we move into the Century Batteries Nationals, it is Mark Thomas on top, and we go into the first round of eliminations. And here's a car that's been around for a long time, but once again, a new driver.
Yes, Mike Witteveen's taken over ownership of this Ferrari, so he's really getting to terms with it. It's a handful of a car, and he's up against South Island's Steve Beatty.
Yeah, a lot of change, all for the good, of course. Making things better, stronger. We got Sims that originally built the car, and he's on our crew, not here today because he's sick. But wealth of knowledge from him. Same with my crew guy, Parksy here. You know, he couldn't get a better crew.
Steve Beatty from the South Island, one of the movers and shakers down there. They're trying to get up a international drag strip down in Christchurch, take the pressure off the Powerbuilt Raceway at Ruapuna. Steve would have been in the lane 2, the closest to the camera on the outside. It is the 55 Chevy of Beatty from Canterbury. This will be good, Manuel.
Yes, you won't get any complaints from me about having a dedicated drag strip in Christchurch. Good start there from Mike Witteveen. As you can see, he had the better reaction time, so Steve Beatty doing the chasing.
Oh, once again, to start our program, a blanket finish. Watch this. As Manuel said, the Ferrari gets out of the hole quicker, but Beatty runs him down, or does he? No, I think would have just got there.
Yeah, right on the stripe, nose of the Ferrari.
So in lane number 1, it's Chris Tynan in the 55 Gulf Western Oil Chevy, and alongside him in lane number 2, it is Tom Richardson in the 57. This should be another good matchup, Manuel. Chris Tynan's been struggling a bit, and Tom is ever consistent. Chris, the biggest meet of the year, and you guys have struck a few problems yesterday.
We run, I think at that stage we're number 1 qualifier at a 7-1. We've lost our position down a couple of steps, but yeah, we had some dramas. The old crate decided to fall out the bottom of the block. So it was a rush back to my base in Hamilton, where with a kind gesture from Mr. Green, he loaned me a block. So we've swapped all the internals of my engine into it, and hopefully today we're back on the track again.
Well, let's talk quickly about David Green, over 200 miles an hour yesterday.
Yeah, well, he's starting to get his act together, isn't he? Hey, he's going to be one of the cars to watch this weekend, I believe.
Well, Chris Tynan, it sounds like it trips off the tongue. I just stuck all the internals in the engine, but that's a huge job.
Oh, all in a day's work, isn't it, overnight? But that's what drag racing in New Zealand is all about. You've got to be there.
Chevy on Chevy. Oh, and Chris Tynan nearly kisses the Armco, so they've got some handling problems.
Well, it just stepped out as he changed gear, but it made the horsepower at the top end and took the win over Tom Richardson. A door slammer car for Chris Tynan, so he is making more horsepower than the Wild Bunch car of Tom Richardson.
And what about the wheels up launch? A great race, but some problems early on for Tynan. He gets the win, so he'll go through, so that's got to be a weight off his mind. But tell us about that run, mate. You flirted with the guardrail a couple of times.
Oh, well, when I left the line, of course, the thing pulled the wheels, and as it gets up on the back wheel, that right rear one tends to steer you to the left. And of course, ease off the gas a little bit, come down, and you get into the dirty side of the track. And then, of course, that right wheel's trying to push you into the guardrail, so you've got to ease off a bit more to get out. And it was just unfortunate that Tom broke a bottom blower pulley off his engine. Otherwise, it would have been a bit of a chase to the finish line, I think.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a chase in round 2, because I think you're going to meet your old nemesis, Brownie, aren't you?
Oh, I am. We're going to have to put a bit of a killer tune-up in here, I think.
Another round of top door slammer, and in lane number 1, it's Bobby Owens in that oh-so-straight Falcon. And Mark Thomas in lane number 1 in the new paint job on the Holden. The PPG covering looking pretty darn good. First thing, Mark, we notice about the fastest Holden Ute in the country is the paint job.
Yeah, well, the last paint job had a bit of an accident, as we all saw in the last meeting. So, yeah, we decided it was time to repaint it. And obviously we're sponsored by PPG. And they have a candy range, which is called Radiance. So we thought put the sponsored product on there, and we picked the brightest one we could find.
The word is that Dave Green surprised a few yesterday?
Oh, he might have surprised a few, didn't surprise us. I mean, the motor's got the potential to run a lot quicker than he's running at the moment. He's just working on a new combination, and it takes time to get the combination right. He's had a lot of trouble with the season with his clutch, which has kept us in the points race, to be honest. I mean, as we've discussed before, we're down probably 500 horsepower on the top cars, but we have a good combination, a known combination, so sometimes that's an advantage. But here, with the traction the way it is, he's probably got a little bit of an advantage, but we'll give it our best.
So Mark Thomas backing up after the burnout. He'll go into lane number 2. Alongside him will be Bobby Owens in the Falcon. There he is there.
Each of the racers giving the other competitors the respect they deserve, though, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Bobby Owens leaves first because of the handicap. Now, can Thomas run him down? No, he can't.
There's 6/10 of a handicap advantage to Bob Owens off the line, but you can see that Mark Thomas will have problems about half track, and that just lets Bobby Owens drive away from him.
Well, that's got to be a bit of a surprise, Manuel.
A little bit of an upset. Mark Thomas was making more horsepower, but then, as you say, the handicap, so he had to catch him.
So burnouts in progress. David Green closest to camera. Alongside him is Trevor Tynan in the Kiwi Sheds Datacom Impala. They had problems at the Northern National, but so too did David Green.
Yep, we've managed to get back to where we were and get the car down the track. Yep, two consecutive runs now without shaking the tyres off the back of the thing, so we're very happy about that.
Is that a matter of sneaking up on the setup, or is that a matter of the conditions changing?
I think the track's better than it was last time. Plus, we have changed the rear end setup as well to not hit the tyres as hard. So
David Green backing up. You can hear the engine revving. That's Trevor Tynan. It sounds like the throttle might be stuck there, Manuel.
Well, the problem that they do have, although the butterflies don't appear to be open, any air leaking into that engine, of course, injection it'll just keep revving, same as if the throttles are partly open.
Well, Trevor Tynan decided he's going to run anyway. They had problems at half track. No problems for Dave Green. It's not a bad run, maybe a bit down on the ET, but 203 miles an hour, that's as good as his qualifying run. Have a look at it on the replay and watch the Impala.
Yes, Trevor Tynan did the wise thing and shut it down just off the start line, but David Green, a nice steady start to the National Championship.
Well, this guy is a story in himself. They've had major problems since Masterton, but they're back on track now. But they don't know too much about the engine that they got from Victor Bray.
Yeah, that's right, a new engine combination straight out of Australia. The engine's capable of running 6.0s, so making horsepower is not going to be the problem.
Yeah, well, we've been here since Thursday testing, and as you know with these cars, as you say with all the guys, trying to get that right tune-up, and we had the tune-up with our other engine. This engine we brought now is running 605 at 245, holds the world record, but that's in their car, their gear, so it's one. There's no way I can sort of put that tune-up straight in the car. So basically we're sort of back to scratch. We're sort of bringing it up slowly and just doing a run and then just going a bit lean and doing another run, get a bit lean and get some data for the computers. So yeah, it's definitely put a bit of pressure on us.
It is the New Zealand Nationals and it'll be a nice one to win, but no, the approach is always the same. Go as hard as you can and as fast as you can and see what happens at the end of the day.
How did yesterday go for you?
We're number 2 qualifier, 7:54 I think it was, yeah. A mile an hour it was down a bit, but the air wasn't very good yesterday, but hopefully it's a bit better today.
Mark Holland in lane 2 with the Victor Bray Hemi Power. Alongside of him it's Craig Brown with a big Chevy, and Brown leaves first. Now can Holland run him down?
Well, Craig Brown's got the philosophy, hasn't he? Go as fast as you can and just let the winds come. And there's another one for him in round number 1. He takes one off Mark Holland.
Here it is on the replay. Great launch for Browning.
Well, that's why he's defending Point Series champion, isn't it? He just does everything right on race day. Consistent, another mid-7, takes the win.
This is Graham Alexander closest to camera in the Chevy Beretta. And alongside of him it is Mark Bardsley in the small block Camaro. And what a wonderful sound that Camaro makes.
Yes, it's a well-prepared car, and Mark Bardsley is setting the pace as number 1 qualifier.
How's the car going?
Been good, yeah. To the best time we've ever done yesterday, 7:36 at 184 mile an hour.
And what do you put that down? Have you just been working on it, or was it conditions? Or
Probably just me. A couple of things I've changed in driving, and it's the last meeting we're doing with this motor. We've got another new combination for next year, so today's the last meeting for this motor.
So there is Mark Bardsley, the Sedgins Auto Parts car. Well, these guys, this car's got so much potential, but man, they've had some problems. They literally blew the doors off it in one run earlier on in the season, and once again, they're left on the line.
But Mark Bardsley, that's why he qualified number 1. He is just driving so well this season. He takes a win off Graham Alexander.
Well, you have a look at the speed there, 197 mile an hour for Alexander. So, man, it trucks along, but he just can't get the combination quite right. Bardsley takes a good win.
7:43, 183 for Mark.
Well, we're finished with round 1 of eliminations, but for the losers, it doesn't mean their day's over. They run a race return system here at Mary, and that means everyone gets a second chance. And I guess it's just more time for the crowd to watch some fantastic drag racing.
Well, it fills the fields up, doesn't it, and gives the racers some more seat time. Limited numbers of races, of course, in New Zealand. We don't have the luxury of hundreds and hundreds of race cars in each of the fields. There's only one way you can get experience driving a race car, that's on the racetrack. So race return is a good format and works well for us here in New Zealand.
And it'll work well for Mark Holland. I know they want to really step up on this card and try and run some big numbers later on in the day. This is the quarterfinals now in the Door Slammers, and closest to you it is David Green in the Radio Harakey sponsored Corvette, and Bobby Owens in the other lane as Mark Thomas comes back down the return road. Now, if David Green's got everything sorted out, are we going to see another 200 mile an hour pass here, Manuel?
Certainly capable of it. Question is, has he got the clutch set up in the car? And I would say no, from the fact that he gets off the throttle just off the line and leaves it all to Bobby Owens. Just shaking the car severely. We might have a look on the replay. You can see he knows his race is over.
Well, that was a problem for David Green in the Northern Nationals. Massive tyre shake. The car has got all the potential in the world, but man, it's just so hard getting it dialed into the strip. Chris Tynan, well, what a busy weekend he's had. He's changed the engine overnight. He's back here on Sunday, and so far, so good.
Well, if he can run another low 7.3, 7.2, he can have the measure on Craig Brown, but Craig Brown is so consistent. You don't wear the number 1 for 12 months without being consistent.
And these guys have met so many times before, they'll each know each other's game.
Certainly will.
There is Craig Brown, Papakura engine specialist, 55 Chevy. He was the points leader in the NZDRA Championship last year. Chris Tynan is one of the movers and shakers in the NZDRA, but this time it's all Tynan. So maybe, Manuel, we're seeing Chris coming back to his best.
Well, that was a good drive for Chris Tynan. Unfortunately, it was all in vain because he left fractionally too soon and brings on a red light at the bottom of the tree. It's a red light foul, automatic disqualification, so it is Craig Brown that will have the win.
Another chance to have a look at the beautiful Chevy Camaro of Mark Bardsley. You heard him say that they're putting a big engine combination in this car for next year. And that must bode well for all drag racing fans because this car has been a standout.
It certainly has. And again, he cuts a very good light. It's good start line reactions for Mark Bardsley. That has certainly got him a lot of victories over the season. That's what drag racing's about, though.
An easy win there for Bardsley in the Sedgitons Camaro. There it is on the replay. You heard Manuel say cut a good light. You see for yourself his reaction time was so much better than it would have been, and there is the result at the end of the strip. So Bardsley will go through. Huge crowd watching the 37th Century Batteries Nationals as the K&N girls hand out some materials for the very appreciative crowd here.
The colour and glamour that is drag racing in New Zealand.
Well, absolutely. Baking in the hot sun. And we've got to mention the hot sun because that changes the track conditions. And when you're making the sort of horsepower that David Green and Mark Bardsley are making, that makes a huge difference.
Well, a hot track is a good track for race cars, and the track temperature at the moment is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how hot it is on that black.
Well, that's just about good enough to boil an egg. This is David Green and Mark Bardsley. We can tell you this isn't an elimination, Manuel. What's going on here?
Well, because of the odd number of cars that are in the semi-final round, 3 cars, one has to have a bye. One of those winners from the previous round was Mark Bardsley, so he has the bye run. We pair him up against David Green. It's a race return format. Mark Bardsley will get a win, go into the final, and the winner of this pair between Craig Brown and Bobby Owens will be the second finalist that will meet Mark Bardsley.
So it's Chevy on forward here at the Century Batteries 37th Drag Nationals at Merry, the final round of the NZDRA Points Series. This guy has been a giant killer.
Bob Owens has. He qualified number 1 because he is just going that little bit quicker every time he goes out on the racetrack. And that's what drag racing is all about.
Well, maybe the brown horsepower coming into play here as he runs Bobby Owens down. But once again, watch the start. Fantastic reaction from Owens.
Yes, a little bit of a nap there for Craig Brown, although he does have the horsepower to drive around him, and that's why the blue car is top of the ladder.
Another look at it here for you, and you can see the crowd virtually lining the whole quarter mile here, so a big crowd in to watch this, and it is something. Bardsley comes out again in that screaming small block Sedgitons Auto Parts Chevy Camaro. Craig Brown in the other lane. Now this is the final of Door Slammer, and we've seen this matchup so many times before, Manuel.
Yes, it was so many finals we could just rerun them, couldn't we, from last year? Craig Brown and Mark Bardsley. It always went in favour of Craig Brown. Mark Bardsley, though, doing the numbers today, we could see a reversal in that result.
Well, he's had a dream run, qualified number 1. Let's see as they come into stage. Brownie just edging in now. Bardsley's set, so Brownie's going to make him wait just a little while. Revs come up as the 2 lights on the top of the tree go on. We are set to go. This is the final of Top Door Slammer. Craig Brown, well, that was the best start we've seen from him all day. Is it going to be enough? Here comes Bardsley. Brown and Bardsley side by side. Brownie gets it.
Craig Brown by margin of victory, 1/10 of a second, and it was all off the start line. Craig Brown, you saw him moving first.
Well, he got a little close to the centre line, but he stayed away from it. 178 mile an hour, so the mile an hour down a little bit, but a win's a win, and I'm sure Brownie will be happy with it.
It'll be very frustrating for Mark Bardsley, but it was that start line reaction that won it all for Craig Brown.
Well, the fans love it as well as we have a look at the overall results. Craig Brown it is that takes the win from Mark Bardsley in Top Door Slammer. Craig Brown takes the title, but the series points leader is David Green. Having now been the victor in the series, what's your opinion of the series? Is it the right way to go?
Oh, definitely. I think it's really good that we go around, everybody does different tracks and that, and it gets different cars to different places for the public to see, and that, and it's good for the sport.
Well, this is the lunchtime entertainment. This is the Century Batteries battery lift, and I can tell you the world record is 3 minutes 45 seconds. And this guy, he was well over the 2-minute mark. I asked him what was the problem. He said he lost his grip. Look at the crowd. They're loving the entertainment on the track and off the track.
Those batteries are not light, are they? The Optima batteries, and hold it above your head for over 2 minutes.
Well, from beauty to the beast, this is super stock action. And this is a man that's been around forever in his 57 Chevy. This is Ross Taylor.
Certainly has. He was in the Superstock division when it first started, the conception as such, and still got the car. It's still very, very competitive. You wouldn't rule him out of your finals.
Well, he comes up against the late model Camaro of Mr. Fittis, but he's going to shut him down, or is he? Oh, how close was that?
It was all again off the start line. We just saw it in the door slammer final. Ross Taylor might be the old man in the class, but he can still cut a good light, and Clark Fittis hasn't got enough horsepower to catch up.
Well, there was nothing in it. Tony Bennis now in the car dealer Camaro up against Howick's Andre Gill. Now, I know Andre's been working on his reaction time. He's been going to the gym and trying to find things down a little bit. But this guy in the other lane, he's the one to beat. Tony Bennis, big wheels up launch.
Well, both of these cars are 8-second cars. Yes, a lot of people think that you don't need to necessarily be fit to be a drag racer. Well, that's not true. You need to be fit, sharp and healthy, because the whole race is over in under 9 seconds in this case, with Andre Gill taking the win in 8.7. So you've got to be pretty sharp.
So Andre Gill goes through into another round here at the Century Batteries Nationals. This man on a bye though, this is Scotty Campbell.
The number 1 qualifier, so he earns the bye in the first round. We just saw Tony Bennis there pull out with transmission problems. So Scotty Campbell single pass, but he still runs an 8.7 into the next round.
Andre Gill closest to camera. Scott Campbell on the in lane 1. Both wheels up launch, so it's pretty... Oh, and problems for the Ford.
Well, Scotty Campbell hasn't lost many this year, but Andre Gill is going into the finals, and he will take that win.
So this is the final of Superstock, and you're looking at Andre Gill, and really they've been struggling with the car a little bit this season, but now it's back to its potential, as Manuel said, an 8-second car, but so too is the old Chevy of Ross Taylor.
Well, we've already seen Andre run an 8.7 and an 8.8. Ross Taylor, well, he hasn't done the best times, but 9.20's good enough to get him into the final.
Once again, he catches Gill napping on the tree, so it's going to be close. The big Chevelle really getting into its work now, gets the nose in front, and Andre Gill will go home with a title.
Well, Ross Taylor, he backed himself. He didn't have the horsepower to drive around Andre Gill, but it was all the big Chevelle that will take the win with an 8.86 over a 9.28 from Ross Taylor.
So 151 miles an hour for nearly 2 tonnes of car for Andre Gill. Into Permaseal Supergas now, and this is Kevin Foothead in the bucket.
From Waikanae, and Steve Milne in the Topolino from Tauranga.
427 Chevy powering the little Fiat. Battle for 3rd and 4th here.
Well, yes, both losing their semi-final races. So the race for 3rd and 4th. Steve Milne had a very good year last year, featured well in the point series, but he's going to have to be content with 4th today.
Here it is on the replay. And Milne gets out pretty quick, but then the bucket just runs him down. And they've got to be aware not to break out too, don't they, Manuel, in Permaseal Supergas?
Yes, it's a fixed index of 9.90. If they go under 9.90, they'll lose the race.
Well,
this is the big one.
9.92, they were close.
This is the big one for 1st and 2nd. Paul Smith in the Colourworks Chevy Coupe and Andy Chapman in the 27 Ford Roadster. And you can see that Paul Smith had done enough. He just throttled off at the finish line, which is good bracket racing for a Supergas car.
And both cars pretty close to the index. 9.98 for Smith, 10.05 for Andy Chapman. So the win goes to Smith. Into Top Street now, and it is Roger Binnemer up against Graham Bates. Bates in the Vauxhall Cresta. Now this is an 8-second car.
This has certainly set the racetrack alight when we saw this car. I have seen it around New Zealand before, but it's very, very impressive today, and that win in the quarterfinals will put him into the semi. Well, here's the next quarterfinal. We see Kev McGregor, number 1 qualifier, well ahead of Mark Anderson. He's into the semis.
So first to the semi-finals, it's Graham Bates in the Vauxhall up against Bradley Rosewarne in the Corvette.
Well, Bradley Rosewarne, 16, 17 years of age. He's leading the point series. That semi-final will give him the win in the National Point Series.
This is the final. Graham Bates up against Kevin McGregor, and a handicap here, Manuel.
Yes, different classes of car in the bracket, so there is a handicap start. It's controlled by the computer. It means that they'll be a lot closer at the finish line.
Well, it's going to be close. Watch Bates as he runs him down, and I think he gets there. He does with an 8.57 with a 6 as opposed to a 9.02. Here it is on the replay, and you see McGregor leave first.
Yeah, it's very impressive, this Cresta, isn't it? Twin turbocharged aluminium Donovan engine, making the power to take the win.
So the final goes to Graham Bates from Wellington over Kevin McGregor of Linfield. This is the car of Tony Johnson, brand new to drag racing this year, although he's not brand new to it, Manuel. He's been around the scene for a long, long time, but brand new to driving. So this car, I guess they got an eye on the future.
Yes, it is teamed up with Mark Fleming, Tony Johnson and Mark Fleming. It just shows you that there are always new cars and new races coming in.
So you're going to go to nitrous?
The whole car has been built with the long-term intention of running a supercharger, so that the frame and the right down to the splash guard that you can see around the windscreen, everything's been built up with the long-term aim of running a supercharged deal. And this is really just a learning deal that we've got going at the moment, where we've got to get the car sorted, brand new car, 2 new drivers that have never raced anything this quick. So you know, we're just trying to do it sensibly, start off quietly and work our way up to it. And once we've got a handle on all this, then we can talk about stepping up.
Well, this is an added highlight at the 37th Century Batteries Drag Nationals. This is Richard Smith from California in Warhawk. Now, it is a rocket-powered funny car. He said he wants to run over 400 kilometres an hour. Can he do it? Come back after the break and find out. Welcome back to Champion Dragway for the 37th Century Batteries Nationals. This is Richard Smith in his jet-powered funny car. Now, they put on one heck of a display last night at Waikaraka Park. They turned corners. This is his first run down the strip. He'd like to run a 6 dead, Manuel.
Yes, he's looking at running 6 seconds flat, which will put him in round about the 230, 240 mile an hour mark. But this is his first ever time down Champion Dragway. Some of those bumps at the finish line might be a bit interesting. Let's see what he can do.
Well, this is the early stages of the run, and I tell you what, you've got to experience the noise to believe it. They clear out everybody from the control tower and behind the start area as Richard Smith brings it up into stage. Remember, there's no drive line, there's no wheel spin, it's all about thrust.
It was interesting talking to the drivers. They actually rely on good traction on the start line to hold the car on the brake as they wind up the engine.
Pratt & Whitney powered Warhawk from the United States of America. Richard Smith at the controls.
It's all thrust. It's just like we're like Top Gun on the ground. There's no drive line. The only reason we even have the tires have slicks on the back is to hold it on the starting line, because the engine is full throttle on the starting line, and then I light the afterburner when we leave.
Well, they say in fireworks, don't you light the blue touch paper and stand well clear. Well, that's what Richard Smith's just done.
And this is a very impressive run. His first run of the day runs a 6.1. Second run of the day ran a 6.10 at 245 miles an hour.
And we had to wait a while for the third run. 253.4 miles an hour. Here it is on the replay.
And have a look at the elapsed time, 6.02 seconds. As easy as you like.
And as straight as an arrow. We said to him that he had a little problems in the first run with the braking area, but they made an adjustment, and that is the result. And the crowd absolutely loved it. They went nuts.
I got to tell you what, I mean, these guys, the New Zealanders, have just welcomed us so much. I don't know that we're going to leave.
Well, we'll keep him here, won't we? He said he wanted to do 400 kilometres an hour, 253 miles an hour. That is 404.8 kilometres per hour.
You're here at the Century Batteries Drag Nationals for 2005. Now, we've had a lot of questions throughout our coverage of the TV drag racing about the starting procedure. Well, we're down here by the Christmas tree. If you have a look on top of the Christmas tree, you'll see some white lights. Now, that is the pre-stage beam. What happens is 2 beams by the start line. The cars roll into the first beam. That puts the first set of lights on. When they roll about 6 or 7 inches further, that puts the second lights on. When the second lights are on, that means they're ready to go. They're in the starter's hands. On a Pro tree, all the amber lights come down on the together, and then the green goes, and we go racing. In some of the racing, you'll see the tree go down, ding, 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 and then green. You'll also see handicap racing. It's all part of the magic that is drag racing here at the Century Batteries Nationals. Well, whether you like it or not, pro import racing is becoming a huge part of New Zealand drag racing, and this is the final. And we've got Brent Curran from Pakuranga up against Mount Mauganui's Corey Abbott. This is Corey Abbott in the RX2.
Well, he's actually leading the National Point Series in the RX2. So if he can win this meeting, he will get the double of National Finals and National Series.
So Abbott it was that got away first, but now Curran starts to run him down, and some problems for Abbott. There must be. That's a 9-second card. It's not going to do that this time round. Here it is on the replay. You see Abbott leave first.
Yes, he gets to about half track, doesn't he? Then it just shuts down. Although Brent Curran, he's very, very quick RX7 in the all-rotor final. He'll take the win.
Goes through at 147 miles an hour, 9.35 with a 6 as opposed to a 10.56 with a 2, 129.85 for Abbott. Round 1 of eliminations for C3 Modified now, and we've got Mark Williams up against Braden Smith. Williams in the T-bucket, Braden Smith in the rear engine rail.
Well, it's the first time we've seen Mike Williams this year, and the problems have plagued him all weekend, so Braden Smith will take an easy win.
So this is the second matchup in Modified, and it's Pete Mio from Wainuiamata in the 23T, the red car closest to camera, up against Dean Blackburn from Levin in the altered.
Well, you see the handicap start there. This is a dial your own bracket for competition cars, so good close racing at the finish line.
Pete Mio gets it. Well, on the matchup here, and it's Todd and Mike Vincent in the rear engine rail up against Mike Williams. And it looks like Williams has got it a little bit better this time, Manuel.
Yeah, the Drakes are doing the chasing. It's going to be close at the finish line.
Oh, and I think they got there. The Vincent boys might have just pipped them on the line. Rightio, next combination, Pete Mio outside in lane number 1. Alongside of him, it is the DeBoom family.
Yes, Ian and Dylan DeBoo are sharing the drive this meeting. And this is Dylan DeBoo driving.
Single pass now for Lindsay Hay from Tauranga in the 32.
Well prepared car this for the modified bracket. Normally his daughter Karen Hay is doing the driving, but Lindsay on the butterflies today.
So he will progress through as we move into the semi-final now. Todd and Michael Vincent in the rear engine rail up against Pete Mio in the bucket, and the rail goes through with the win. The RPM engineering car gets there.
Certainly young against the old there in years of experience. First season for Todd and Michael Vincent, and they're into their first Nationals final.
Another single pass now for Lindsay Hay, ex-powerboat racer.
And this, of course, will put him into the final against the RPM International Dragster.
Well, that will be an interesting matchup, and here is the Vincent brothers. You see the time on the side of the car, the 9:35, that's their dial-in, 7:50 for Lindsay Hay, so there'll be a handicap situation here. I like the look of the Roadster, but, well, we'll wait and see.
Well, he's got it wrong on the start, Lindsay Hay. He's normally pretty good on the light. He's a little bit too quick. A red light foul, instant disqualification, win to the Dragster.
Well, you see it on the replay. The red light comes on in lane number 1 as Manuel picked it, and it's the RPM boys that go through and take their first title. So Todd and Michael Vincent take out the title with a 9:33 with a 9 at 148.95 miles an hour, and Lindsay Hay throws away a 7:60. Eliminations now for competition, and it is the fastest flathead in the land up against Matt Powell.
Matt Powell from Christchurch in the small block altered takes the win.
Next up, Richard McCarthy from New Plymouth in the 27T Roadster up against one of the veterans, Trevor Watson, in the Peugeot.
Well, this car was on the racing scene in the late 70s and been rebuilt back to its winning success too for Trevor Watson, 9.5.
Next up, it is the points leader in the NZDRA series. This is Ash Beck in the Popular up against Doug or Daniel Jeffries.
Yes, sharing the drive, take a turnabout. It is Daniel Jeffries driving this time. But no, they're not going to beat Ash Beck, are they?
Well, it's that consistency that's got him into the front in the competition. Matt Powell, we have a look at again. Trevor Watson. Well, this has been the giant killer. It knocked out Richard McCarthy.
Certainly has. They're in the semi-final, so winner here will go into the final for the Nationals.
Matt Powell comes all the way from Christchurch, and he's turned the reds on, so Trevor Watson's going to go through, so a bit of history in the making here, Manuel.
Certainly is. Matty Powell knew he had to catch the dragster, left too soon.
Ash Beck from Papamoa in the Little Pop.
Single pass for the number 1 qualifier to put him into the final against Trevor Watson.
Well, he's going to run it hard right down to the end of the quarter, and he'll go through with an 8.839 at 141 miles an hour. Now, this is the final, and look at the different technologies. You've got a small block V8 up against a 2-litre Peugeot engine.
A supercharged 2-litre Peugeot too, so it's a 9-second car. Ash Beck, a high 8. That 883 in the last round gave him lane choice. He's opted for left-hand lane number 1.
Well, the Peugeot leaves first, but now can the cubic inches come into play? I think it can. Ash Beck's going to continue his winning season. He wins it and wins it pretty easily in the final summation.
Having a look at the forward pop, as you say, he was second to leave the start line, handicap start going to Trevor Watson. but the top end charge and at the finish line, 151 miles an hour will beat 146.
So Ash Beck takes the title with an 8.844 at 151.44 miles per hour. Well, a big crowd here getting ready for top alcohol and plenty of good cars here at the Nationals, but the word on the street is there's a couple more coming, and one of the legends of the sport's coming back as well, and that is Garth Hogan.
The principal of your company, of course, Garth Hogan, has a long-standing record of driving fast cars, and particularly drag races. What are some of those records that he's put up over the years?
I think he still is the fastest man in New Zealand. So he is, I think his quarter mile time is 5.2 or 5.3. This is a nostalgia dragster. It's going to be powered by a small block Chev, and we expect cars similar in the US will run around 200 miles per hour. So we're probably expecting this to run that as well.
Well, this is what the big crowd has come to see. Sure, we've seen some fantastic racing earlier on. This is the first round at Ruapuna, and it's the Side brothers up against Chris Johnson in the Harcourt's hauler.
It was a good final, wasn't it? The Aucklanders came down with Chris Johnson doing the driving of the Harcourt's dragster, and Brendan Side just left wanting.
So that started off the NZDRA point series, and here is the onboard shot. If you've ever wanted to do 200 miles an hour on the front straight at Ruapuna, here's your chance. Northern Nationals, and the big surprise was Grant Rivers, closest to camera, in the funny car.
Yes, he certainly found some horsepower this year, ran his first ever 6-second pass, first ever 200 miles an hour pass. Couldn't quite beat the Harcourt's dragster in that final.
And they had problems there too because they lost the belt. You'll see it in the replay. There goes the supercharger belt, and that was the start of problems for Chris Johnson and Harry Taylor. They had to do a major rebuild, but they're back here at the Nationals, and you can see that they're leading the point standing. So we're into the creme de la creme here at the Century Batteries Nationals. This is top alcohol. Nationals, pretty big shoes to fill. Chris has been doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, yeah, as he has, we're coming up, we're on top of the NZDRA point score, so it's all good. Neither of us have really had that many runs this year, but the car's been semi-reliable, and yeah, we're out there trying to do it.
Except for the hiccup at the Northern Nationals here when you seize the blower, I think. It has been reliable, and what gets me is how straight it runs.
Well, it's an old car. That's what's happened. It's built solid. There's no flex in it, and it seems to work really well on this track in particular. So why change something that's working?
Exactly right. If it runs to its potential today, what do you expect?
Well, we're real happy with the 670, but we've still got a fair bit to go. You know, like we'll, as always, try and go faster. But yeah, I don't know. I hope to get our mile an hour up a bit and chase that record, and yeah, hopefully by the end of the day, maybe end up with both ends of the national record.
Chris Johnson doing the work on the engine this time. He shares the drive with Harry Taylor.
A clutch setting that's, how do you explain it? It's the initial bite that the clutch gets when the car leaves. I just want to try, we've got a buy run for the first run, so I just want to try putting a little bit more clutch in it, see whether the track will handle it.
Is that sort of the step up after yesterday, or just to sort of consolidate?
Just to consolidate, yeah. We've already changed it quite like with the new blower and everything, we're just trying to get it all running right, which we're pretty close to that now, but I just want to try this and see what this is going to do.
So there is Harry Taylor, and this, as we said, is the buy run, and they can experiment a bit here, Manuel.
Yes, drag racing is all about acceleration, isn't it? They make the horsepower, they've got to get it to the track, they've got to get it down the track. That is a very, very good call for Chris Johnson. Runs a low ET, a personal best ever for Harry Taylor and for the car in the seasons under the Harcourt's logo of a 6:58, 203 miles an hour.
Well, they just keep trucking along, don't they? Here is Brian Norman from Alexandra. Made the trip up for the Nationals.
He's up against a local T-Altered, Peter Pinkney from Drury, giving away a little bit of horsepower, Peter Pinkney. But he's in the field, and of course got a 50-50 chance, hasn't he?
Well, Brian Norman leaves well. Big front up launch for Norman. He'll go through and take the win First time we've seen him back in the NZDRA listing since Ruapuna, but great to see him here. Here it is on the replay. You may remember from our coverage at Ruapuna, they've extended the front of the frame on the car, and they had a few problems at Ruapuna, but it looks like they've sorted them out now. Here's another guy that's had problems. They had major problems in the qualifying yesterday. Mark Vincent tells me he thinks he's on top of it now, and these guys too, Manuel. Lots of problems for Shane and Peter Lodge.
And I think that's continuing. We heard the backfire, which is synonymous to a backfire in the blower.
So Vincent goes through with a solo, but he has problems as well. Lots of smoke coming out the left banks.
If we have a look at the car, it was going very strong to half track, and then at about 1,000 foot mark, you see the smoke. It might just be a gasket blown out. I think they'll be back.
Well, let's hope as we move on to the next round.
Wayne Curry and Dave Drew in a pair of voltage. Big KB, the Keith Black engine for Wayne Curry, new car this season, and he'll be happy with that win over Dave Drew.
Well, it's just gone faster and faster, Wayne. We saw it first up at the Northern Nationals, and they struggled to run in the, just under the 8-second bracket, but they're well and truly into the 7s now. 7-1-79 there.
Nothing like a big race meeting to find the best of a car, and here is the first time car in the North Island in New Zealand. It's John Nealon. He's done very well around the South Island Tour from Mataura, and John Nealon, rear engine dragster.
The Nationals always turns up a few surprises, and this is a big surprise. Tell us about the car.
I bought it in from the States in May last year. It's a 262-inch Bob Jenkins car. I managed to pick it up virtually complete, less motor and transmission, so really good combination, really good car.
And what's the potential?
We did a 690 yesterday, but there's quite a lot more in it yet. Yeah, quite a lot, yeah.
So is it a case of so many, like the Lodges, you're still learning a lot about it?
Oh yeah, no, we've only done 13 runs in the car to date, so we're starting to get on it, but there is a lot of learning involved, yeah.
So this is the burnout for John Nealon. Been around drag racing for a long time, hasn't he, Manuel? But been out of the sport for a long time as well.
As a lot of them do, but he's coming back, and as he clearly says, very humble. It's a whole new learning experience. But 690 is not bad, is it? First time at Champion Dragway for a long, long time. The problems for Mike Hogan, his opponent in the Willys Coupe. So a single pass for John Nealon and another 690.
So it's Mr. Consistency for the man from the deep south of Mataura. 198.58 miles an hour, so he's knocking on the door of the 200 mile an hour mark. Well, Mark Vincent back, and hopefully the oil problems are over. He comes up against Stormin Norman, Brian Norman from Alexandra.
First quarter final, the must-win races at this point in the championship.
So the retro front engine dragster there of Brian Norman, working his way up into the staging area. The freight train, the double engine digger. Oh, and there's problems again for Vincent.
Well, he just shook the tyres off the start line, and I think again it's blown a gasket out. You see lots of smoke coming out of the left-hand side of the engine. There's no oil on the track, so he hasn't kicked a rod or anything. I think again that is intake around that area, gasket blown. See all that smoke is just puffing it out of the engine. But you can see nothing running out under the car. It's frustrating. Cost him the quarter-final.
Well, it might be frustrating for the freight train team, but it's great news for Brian Norman. He runs his first 6 ever, 690, so he will keep going through. So too will this man, the Harcourt's hauler, and that is the car owned by Ray Pedersen. Gets the win in front of Wayne Curry.
Well, Wayne Curry's certainly thrown into the deep end now, isn't he? He's up against the #1 qualifier in the quarter-final round. He's in the big time now. Can't do it. Harry Taylor takes the win.
And another 204 mile an hour pass. Brian Norman on a single here. We've already seen him run a 6. Can he do it again?
He would dearly love to top off a good weekend. Not going to do it this time. He's in the final though with a 746 at 129.
So this is John Nealon from Mataura just completing the burnout. Burnout's already completed for Harry Taylor in the Harcourt's Vernon and Vasey hauler. There he is, Mr. Consistency. The rig has run consistently in the 200 mile an hour mark since the beginning of the NZDRA series. This is a big ask for Nealon, but he gets off the line well, but it's all Taylor.
All coming back to him, yes, he had a good start, but not enough to drive around Harry Taylor. But two good-looking dragsters, isn't it?
Well, isn't it great to see two 200 mile an hour cars running off side by side? 6.67 for Taylor, so they keep on keeping on.
Another 200 mile an hour, 201.
Stormin Brian Norman next up. We've seen him run his first ever 6, so he's on top of it. But he has got a big ask here.
He has. He's on top of the world today, isn't he? He ran his first ever 6, and he is in the final against the man that has set low ET of the meeting, Harry Taylor, with a 6.5.
Length of the frame a bit this year, and we haven't finished covering it in, but that's a work in progress.
We had a mishap right at the end last season, blew the motor up, and we've rebuilt that. Haven't really changed anything, just new parts to replace the broken ones. But being a wee bit longer and a bit more flexible with a new frame at the front, we're hoping it'll handle the track a bit better.
Well, Labour weekend, when that interview was done, seemed a long time ago, doesn't it? First round of the National Series.
So this is the final preparations for the top alcohol final, and Norman leaves first.
Hole shot for Brian Norman. I think that start line's going to give him enough of an advantage.
Well, that is the upset of the season. Brian Norman shuts out Harry Taylor. Here it is on the replay.
And that side-on angle definitely showed it. A good car length in front, wasn't he, off the line? Harry just caught napping.
Well, I wonder if Taylor just taken him a little bit too light, Manuel.
It's hard to say. It's been a long weekend for the races. A lot of pressure. You're in the big final.
So Brian Norman takes out the title with a 6.723 at 198.83 miles an hour, as opposed to a 6.766, 206.01. The opening round of Ruapuni, you've extended the chassis on the car. You're looking for a little bit more performance out of it. Is that the fastest you've run?
Yeah, well and truly, that's 0.3 better than our fastest before. And it's taken us really all season to get it sorted out and working right, but it's doing the job now. Yeah, we're happy.
Bit of a celebration tonight, Brian?
It'll be a late night tonight.
Did you think you could do it? Like when you turned up this morning and you knew that you had to go rounds?
Yeah, we had a big field and a funny field with 9 cars. It makes it quite awkward to buy rounds and things. We knew if we could get past the second round, we had a buy in the third, which would have got us into the final. And we had the freight train then, and we were lucky. He broke the car. Normally he's a bit faster than us. To take advantage of that, make the most of it. And the final was always going to be the toughie, and I caught him napping a bit on the line, but we just outperformed our normal here. And
well, it's pretty near all over bar the shouting here at Merry for the 37th Century Batteries Drag Nationals, and what a fantastic day it's been. We saw a blistering pass from Richard Smith in his rocket-powered funny car, 255 miles an hour. Not quite as quick as Garth Hogan, but the fastest we've seen here for many a year. Saw some great action too in top alcohol, and a bit of a surprise. Storman Brian Norman from the South Island taking the win over the Harcourt's Hauler, the fastest car in New Zealand, left sleeping on the line. All in all, a fantastic day's racing. We look forward to bringing you more drag racing next season with Century Batteries, Power Built, and of course K&N.
A huge thank you must go to Clint Herring for finding the Sprint Car Show, and to Stu Stanners and Tracy Ferguson for the drag racing. Next week on the show, motocross. And, well, we haven't quite decided yet, but we'll let you know. You'll have to tune in to Retro Motorsport to find out.
You'd have to say as we're back on board with the circuit here at Pyra. Here's the race leaders. There are all sorts of problems.
Oh, big carnage. Oh, straight to the barriers and through the smoke we come.
What a crash!